We are in a new year, and this is the time when everyone is trying to take it to the next level. The best way to elevate your life is to make sure you have a solid foundation, and that is what we are discussing this week. Welcome back to Savvy Psychologist. I'm your host, Dr. Monica Johnson. Every week on this show, I'll help you face life's challenges with evidence-based approaches, a sympathetic ear, and zero judgment. I haven't done an acronym in a while, and it seems like an appropriate start to the year because you know how much I love them. Today, we're going to discuss the DBT skill of please, which is designed to reduce your vulnerability to negative emotions. Many of those who suffer from depression, anxiety, trauma histories, etc., fail to adequately engage in the 5 areas that I'm going to talk about today. If you neglect your body, it will have a negative impact on your mental and emotional well-being. Moreover, all those lofty goals or discoveries you want to make about your existence may fall flat if you don't have these elements in order. The PL in please stands for treating physical illness. Physical illness is linked to mental illness, and physical illness may cause mental health issues. At the very least, physical illness exacerbates mental illness. There have been studies done that looked at the mortality rates of those with various mental health conditions. They found an increased risk of death in conditions like depression, substance misuse, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, to name a few. It's important when you're feeling ill to take it seriously and treat yourself with compassion. This can range from a simple headache or cold to that unexplained physical issue you've been having and ignoring. I can't tell you how many times in my life I've asked ill patients if they've taken basic over-the-counter medicine and discovered that they haven't. Other patients will explain severe pain or other concerning symptoms from an unknown cause that has been going on for months. Do you want to take a guess if they've made the effort to go to the doctor? When your immune system is impaired, it will not only leave you vulnerable to more physical health issues, it will have a negative impact on your mental health as well. Don't be dismissive about how you're feeling physically. The first E stands for balanced eating. We all know that emotional eating is a thing. In fact, when we look at the symptoms of depression, such as changes in appetite, low energy, and changes in weight, it would make sense to you that these are also linked to things such as poor diet, lack of exercise, and obesity, which impact our overall mortality. I am not a pusher of specific diet plans with my patients, unless they have specific issues like diabetes or IBS. However, we generally have an understanding of what's healthy. For instance, we know that having a plant-based diet has many benefits for our overall health. Does that mean that you must be vegetarian or vegan? Not necessarily, but those are viable options. The goal here is to increase your consumption of fruits and vegetables and reduce your consumption of animal-based products. So the next time you go to Texas Roadhouse, instead of getting a 20-ounce ribeye with a single string bean on the side, perhaps opt for a smaller steak and have a full serving of vegetables. If your mental illness causes you to forget about or restrict eating, perhaps start planning out your meals and follow a schedule regardless of if you quote-unquote feel like eating. Your body needs fuel in order to regulate your emotions. A is for avoid mood-altering substances. Alcohol and drugs can lower your resistance to negative emotions. Many folks who suffer with mental health issues use substances to cope, and I do include cigarettes here as well. Some studies have shown an increased rate of smoking among those with depression. One of the primary reasons for the mortality differences I mentioned at the beginning of this episode is the lifestyle choices of those who suffer from mental health conditions. I've also seen for myself folks with anxiety or other conditions use substances like alcohol and marijuana to cope with their emotions, only to find that it simply doesn't work. If you pair in your mind pain or discomfort with drug usage, you will end up wanting to use every time you feel bad, exacerbating your problems. As you go on your wellness journey, you may be met with obstacles. It's important to embrace those experiences and learn from them, rather than engage in the escapism of illicit substances. If you choose to use, remember to do so in moderation and to avoid using to cope with emotional experiences. S is for sleep. There is a growing body of evidence that suggests that lack of sleep leads to a variety of mental health problems. Half of the patients I see have poor sleep habits when I first meet with them. Poor sleep can exacerbate mental health symptoms, leading to issues like poor concentration and decreased frustration tolerance. It's important to note that both too much and too little sleep are problematic. Most adults need between 7 to 9 hours of sleep, so I work with my patients to get as close to that range as possible. If you don't think sleep is impacting you, start a diary where you track your hours of sleep per night, along with your overall mood each day. Many of you will find that when you feel well rested, you're more productive and you're able to brush off stressors more effectively. The final E is for exercise. You might have guessed that by now, given the theme of this episode. The American Heart Association recommends 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. Now, if you've listened to me long enough, you know that I dislike working out, but I do it anyway. Why, you might ask? Well, I keep reading research that states that it improves your mental health. One study found that 15 minutes of vigorous activity reduced depression. I've read others that suggested that anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes of moderate intensity exercise improved mood and anxiety in folks. Furthermore, there is some evidence that shows you may reduce the likelihood of relapses in your mental health by maintaining a consistent exercise routine. There is a Spike Lee movie that I really enjoy called He Got Game. Denzel Washington plays an excellent basketball player who ends up in prison. He's talking to the warden one day about their favorite basketball team, and the warden wants his opinion. Mr. Washington states that their fundamentals are sorely lacking. Now, I don't play sports, but ever since I heard that line so many years ago, it's always stuck with me, and it's a message that I try to convey to my patients. Don't be in these streets trying to dunk when you don't even know how to dribble. As a psychologist, I'm always trying to help folks to get sustainable change. I want you to have your eureka moments, and I want you to be able to not only handle them, but to carry forward beyond them. At the most basic level, I want you to live long enough to enjoy your efforts. As you make all of your New Year's resolutions or set your intentions for the year, I truly hope that you make it a priority to take care of your body, because it is the home basis for self-compassion, self-love, self-exploration, and everything else you want for yourself in your life. What's one way you plan to care for your body in 2023? Let me know on Instagram at KindMindPsych. You can also reach out to me via my email at psychologist@quickanddirtytips.com or leave a voicemail at 929-256-2191. The Savvy Psychologist is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. It's audio engineered by Steve Rickyberg, with script editing by Adam Cecil. Our podcast and advertising operations specialist is Morgan Christensen. Our digital operations specialist is Holly Hutchings. Our marketing and publicity assistant is Davina Tomlin. And our intern is Cameron Lacey. Follow Savvy Psychologist on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's all for this episode of Savvy Psychologist. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.